family and social support. Yeah.
Which you don't get here.
Right,
Yes.
right.
If you get.
So it is for this cause that we have decided this was my point, it is for this cause that we have decided to make a contribution, and same cause that we are calling on well-wishers and supporters of, to this organization for support, to support the initiative of early diagnosis. Again, I think this is what he was
Early diagnosis
highlighting.
is important.
Early
Yes,
diagnosis
yes.
and treatment of cancer. There are scattered efforts. He also mentioned again there are scattered efforts in this direction. Michael, can you close the door, please? There are scattered efforts in this direction. However, our effort is to give increased support. Scattered efforts, this is how on the treatment of cancer and these related diseases. So he again goes ahead, he said the vision, his vision would be, so I said part specific that I'm looking at. He said patients in need, especially to focus on patients in need to get timely and affordable and decent cancer treatment. So this would be our vision. To look at patients who are in need, make sure that they get the treatment or the diagnosis early enough to have decent and affordable treatment, because cancer in general is very expensive. And in the case of Uganda, we are lacking cancer drugs. Okay? The drugs which are there are very expensive. So it's not affordable by everyone. Or if there is any, if there are any drugs, they are kind of cheap in quality. People just resort to these cheap drugs because this is what they can afford. They are not recommendable as science is progressing. We are still taking the old kind of
that
drugs.
old chemo sort of thing, chemotherapy.
So here we need to organize ourselves in chapters dedicated to cancer and treatment. 2, we need to train doctors specialized in cancer treatment, nurses, of course doctors, these are oncologists, nurses who are specialized also in nursing care and counseling, and also improve palliative care. So our action, I went ahead and asked him, what is your follow-up, what is the action? I suppose he says we need to support cancer treatment centers in Africa. And especially for those people who cannot afford expensive treatment, we need to upgrade the centers which are available now. We need to make them more readily available. We can create or we can contribute to more cancer centers which are doing, and those ones which are available are doing, they are misdiagnosing the diseases. For example, you go to hospital, they tell you that you have diabetes, you have malaria, when it could even be cancer. So there's this early diagnosis, as you are talking about, early diagnosis.
I'm nodding my head because I know some people, very loved ones too. My father died of cancer, but every time he went to the hospital, they would tell him, you will be treating ulcers.
Exactly. So there's a lot of
they didn't know that he had cancer until 3 weeks before.
To access the extent and depth of the problem. In other words, we need figures. There is no adequate attention and figures available in the country. We don't know how many people have this disease. We don't know what's happening to the others. Therefore, we need specialized treatment. The focus has been, again he repeats again that the focus has been on AIDS and other infectious diseases. But the non-infectious diseases, there's no adequate support.
Okay, let me just add one thing.
You know, in Global Development, we have these 9 programs that are theme based. One of them is called Improving Global Health. And
So even those are things you could search out that if an African is anemic and even has sickle cells, then those are ways of testing for leukemia.
that's a great idea. Yeah, in other words, if that means that they're more likely to have a tendency.
Oh, definitely.
So it's like an early
Because they're all
warning
blood
sign.
diseases.
Yeah, early warning sign. So if you see that, you know, they should be checking. This gets back to this early diagnosis. So you're saying if they have certain kind of a blood disease, anemia, sickle cell, you should be checking for leukemia.
So someone with sickle cell, sometimes they should check for leukemia too.
Right, right.
Because sometimes they might be thinking it's sickle cells, but also leukemia has come in. And maybe people who die of sickle cells wouldn't die, and maybe they don't die of sickle cells, but they might die of leukemia.
Yes.
And then there's another area I'm very big on with regards to healthcare, and I mean that could be another dynamic. It might not fall under this, but I think it's also important with regards to how do you retain the doctors, because you have a lot of the brain drain.
Yes.
And that's as a result of very poor salaries, especially after long training. And I could seriously, attest to that because my dad died because of I would say it was medical negligence, I would say. He complained his leg was hurting and he just went checked himself into a hospital. And he died while undergoing tests.
And we'll find a bone marrow for that Irish person from Ireland. Because it's the same, it goes according to heritage, to where the
For that matter, there's
ancestry
a
lies.
young man I think who we need to look up is called Sion. He's from Nigeria. He just graduated from Yale, I think, last year, Yale Law School. And he was also on, I think went to Olympics, I don't remember for what sports. And he was diagnosed with leukemia. And he's become a voice for them as well in terms of pushing for, pushing for, he only pushes the drive for people to donate.
To donate, definitely.
Bone marrow. And he was saying, he wrote something, I think, which is in the New York Times, saying that the news was so sad that he was talking to, he was in the hospital and pacing about the ward and then he made friends over there. And even with him pushing for the drive, he did not get a donor for himself. And that's many of his Caucasian counterparts ended up getting it. But he was happy that so far about, I think 20 people have benefited from the drive.
That's so good. That's so good.
Like, for him, that is something that is worth. And he's also under 30. I mean, so I remember just being made aware of what he's doing and things like that. And I decided to just follow up, and especially after your situation, I said now picking up interest in that thing. So maybe it's partnering with organizations that are doing other things because you can't be everything. So maybe that will be the area that that's the person who will handle that drive part, and how do the synergies using our strengths to supplement theirs.